find some sort of harmony and balance. This is why I tell people I sleep peacefully every night, because I don't have those demons rolling around in my head that you should be doing this, you should be doing that. I sleep like a baby, right? I think I sleep like deeper than my cats do. And I look at my cats like, damn, that's some good sleep. I think I sleep better than them, right? Because I don't have these things weighing on, like, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, because I've had many restless nights. Handle that stuff. But when you're working your ass off, when you're doing what you're supposed to do, right? And you know that you're doing it, you sleep very good. You might not be where you're at yet, you might not have the money, but you sleep peacefully. And then you wake up the next day and you hit it again, right? And that to me is what feeds your fulfillment as a human being more than anything else, because you know that you're doing what you're supposed to do and giving it your all towards whatever it is that you want to achieve. The vehicle in this example happens to be real estate, but we all have different goals, whether they're monetary, right? Financial, non-financial, whatever it is. But when you're working at it every day, your psyche knows it. I said I was going to do this and I'm doing it, right? That will give you more fulfillment and happiness than anything else, right? Because when you stagnate as a human being, you start to suffer, right? And a lot of these things cause stagnation. Sitting and watching Netflix, scrolling on your phone endlessly. Like Luke brought up, 1 out of every 10 is an ad. I think it's like 1 out of every 3. I'm like, damn, I want to see my parents, thing that they posted. I don't want to see an ad. It's like ad, parents post, ad. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I can't even see my parents' stuff that I specifically came to see, right? And it's scary. I'll be around my parents and suddenly for a week after that, all my ads are in Spanish, right? And even if we got together for like 2 minutes, it's crazy. I'm like, man, this technology thing is starting to scare me a little bit, right? And they didn't believe me. So I said, okay, start talking about a car. And they'll talk about it and you'll get ads for that car like 5 minutes later or like an hour later. It's crazy. It's like, man, this thing is nuts. This thing is nuts. But like I said, that for me, and again, I'm not speaking to you factually necessarily on this last point. That's just kind of what I've realized, right? Back in the day too, when I was solely focused on basketball, working my ass off, everything was about basketball. That was the most fulfilled I had ever been up until this point. Because everything that I felt was a part of my existence, I was channeling into what I wanted to do and what I wanted to achieve, and nothing else mattered. Everything else came second to that. Ask me back then, how do you feel? Oh man, I love life. Playing basketball, getting paid, right? This is cool. It didn't matter how much money I was making and all the other details. It was, we're working. I was happy to show up to the gym at 5 a.m. and get up extra shots, right? And shoot 1,000 free throws a day. And I was excited to do it, because I knew it would translate to the game and ultimately to become a better player, which is what I wanted to do. Am I, oh man, you're obsessed about basketball. Well, yeah, this is my life. That's what I would tell people. This is my life. This is what I chose. This is what I love to do. Let's go walk to the store. Hold on, let me get my ball, right? And just all the time, right? I would just be sitting in my bed, working on my form all the time. But again, I loved it, right? You guys, I looked at real estate not in the same way, but I knew I had to adopt that mentality to get to this level, because no one else will. Most people in this industry are looking to do the bare minimum and get paid the most. Not know anything about anything, but show up and get the 6 or 7% commission. It's not going to happen. It's nuts. It really is, right? But that's better for you guys, because when you put in the work and you're more intentional about it, you get the result. Right? Like, let's say you took 5 people who DM'd you, Luke, in real estate, and you told them exactly what to do. Do you think any of them would actually do it for a sustained period of time? Or, well, I made a video, it didn't go viral, bro, so I stopped. All that work I was talking to you guys, I only did 13 transactions my first year. Now for a new agent, that's a lot, but you guys heard that level of effort that I put in. But second year, 29, third year, 39, right? And it kept like doubled, and then it went up. And then by the third year, I already grew my team, and then we surpassed 50, and then we just kept going up after that. I think last year, with that 130 million in volume, I lost count. I think it was like 296 transactions that we did as a team or something like that, right? And every year it went up, right? But now at 296, with my team members, they weren't working 16-hour days like I did, right? Because I taught them, right? So there's a difference there, but for me to build that brand and everything up until that point, there was that 2 or 3 year pain period of me busting my ass every day and doing 50 contacts, right? And they still had their periods too. Like when I bring on a new agent, I kind of take them through boot camp and I make them work hard just to at least get a feel for what that is. Then we specifically get into their market and what they're doing, add social media and all that stuff. I also give them referrals. It gets a little easier, but I still make sure everybody goes through that period of at least, 3 to 6 months of putting their nose to the grindstone to understand what it takes to build momentum. Because once they do, it clicks. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I didn't get anything for 2 or 3 months, but now we're getting it. Now we're getting the views. Now I'm getting the customers. Well, there you go, right? And it's important that you guys along the way make sure, and Frank really brought this up, build your database, right? That's something I neglected my first probably 30 days because I was so hungry for a deal. It was okay, if you don't want to buy or sell in the next week, you don't exist to me, which is cool when you're hunting. But man, I lost count of how many people's information I didn't get who would willingly want to give it to me. Oh yeah, call me. It's like, dude, a couple months, forget it, right? Like I want a deal now, right? Like I remember, like I literally almost told people that because my mind was just get a deal now. Build a database, right? I've lost count of how many people, like even they mentioned, will call me 2 years later, ready to sell. Email me a couple months later, ready to sell, ready to buy. I've lost count. I really have. And one of my biggest deals actually was an agent referral, because you brought that up too. Young lady that followed me from Indiana knew somebody who lived in Chicago. This girl from Indiana sold that person in Chicago's mom's house in Indiana. He reached out to her. The guy in Chicago reached out to the lady who followed me in Indiana and said, I'm moving to Southern California. I need to buy a house. She contacted me. Dude ended up, I mean, I guess he owned like, you know, an alcohol brand. Like he made a lot of money. I sold him a $5 million house in Orange County in California. Why? Because I was consistent on YouTube. That's how I got that one. And at the time, I didn't have a huge following. This is years ago. This is like 8 years ago. I think I had maybe like a couple thousand followers on YouTube, right? I'm at 200,000 on YouTube. The first 2 years, I didn't have 1,000. And then it exploded after that. And I was doing consistent stuff, but I wasn't complaining, oh, I don't have any followers. Because I would still go places and people knew me. It wasn't about, that's why I love that Luke brought up, it's not about the followers and likes and all that stuff. I could care less about that, right? I really could. Is it bringing in agent relationships? Is it bringing you customers? That's the importance, because I think I tracked it last year in referrals. I think we sent out, I think it was 41 referrals that closed last year, my team nationwide, and then we received, I think it was like 53 or 54 that closed referrals. Now I don't talk about it. I'm not showing, oh, look, we made so much money, but that's what's happening. So it's like literally one a week through my channels, right? It's pretty cool. And it's just so automatic now. They'll reach out, boom. Family follows me from New Jersey, contacted me on Instagram. Hey, you're going to work with Ronnie on my team who's in Jersey. Boom, there you go. Or hey, you know, moving to Huntsville. Great. I got Frank. Boom. And they'll send it to me too. Hey, you got team members in Georgia, right? Yeah, I got them. Okay, we're going to send you a referral. Okay, boom. Group text, like he said, connect them, done. Right? But that consistency, and then this is the key, and then I'll stop because then I'll just keep fucking talking forever. The consistency, if you guys want to further cement that in your mind, this is the way you need to think about consistency, right? Let's say I'm a realtor and I'm putting stuff on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. Does the public or anybody outside of our professional industry have access to really know if you're selling a lot of homes or not? You could say they could search you up on Zillow and all, but we all know, like, I never reported my shit to Zillow, so I never liked them, right? I never supported them. But they really don't know. They're going to go based on their perception of you, correct? So when we talk about communication, which is posting on social media, videos, pictures, that's just, it's a form of communication. When my communication is consistent, right? Is that a positive or a negative? Positive. It's a positive. It's a net positive. If I post every day, then suddenly I disappear for 2 weeks. What's your immediate thought? Positive or negative? Negative. So when you post consistently, that automatically fills that part in their brain to assume that you're doing well. And I get this testimony from people. They're like, dude, I haven't even sold the house yet, but because I've been consistent on social media, people are reaching out. Like, oh man, you're on it. They're not saying that they're selling a lot of homes, but they're like, they support what they're doing. And they're looking at them like, wow, okay, Luke's the real deal. He's posting every day. And in my mind, I was like, man, that makes it even infinitely easier to be consistent. Because I don't even have the result yet, but people are already assuming that I'm doing well. What easier way to self-promote than that? So even if I thought about not doing it, I was like, nope. Because what if I lose that person who's watching me, right? It's another measure of accountability for yourself. Plus, I want my communication to be net positive all the time, right? Same thing with what comes out of your mouth. We know that the thoughts in our mind, nobody else hears. So you can get away with being negative with yourself, right? But when I speak to people, it has to be a net positive. I don't want to speak, negatively about people. Like that's one thing I'll leave you guys with. Like I made a pact to myself that I'm not going to badmouth people ever, and I don't. And you can ask the people close to me, when do you ever hear me just talking shit about people? I never do that. Gossip, any of that. You need to remove that, right? Because that will always be attached to you if you do it. Other people are going to do it to you, and it's going to come back to you for sure. Even if it's an enemy of mine or somebody who openly talks bad about me, I don't care. Like, why would I talk bad about them? It doesn't change anything. You know, you're better off if they're a competitor in your market, just beating them out because you're better than them. That's your talking. That's how it's always been with me. You know, it got to a point online years ago where nobody else was really growing on YouTube except for me. What did everybody else do? They ganged up on me and started talking trash about me. You'll never know because this happened 6 years ago. That's how other people initially started getting traction on YouTube and real estate, because they were upset that I was occupying so much of the space. They had to gang up and attack me. And then, of course, everybody deleted the videos and they got a little bit of followers, right? Like Luke said, a couple people watched it because it was drama. A little bit of an audience went to them, right? And that's how they did it. Isn't that interesting? But I never engaged with it. Why would I? Because then you get caught up in that web. Right? What are you going to do with it? You think people are going to follow Luke's Instagram if he just goes negative? Oh, look at this other guy trying to do a, Alabama home collection. Loser. I'm the original. Right? It's just ridiculous. But people do that because they think it's attention. Okay, you might get attention, but is it the right attention? Is that somebody? Oh, yeah, I love your drama and gossip. Help me buy a house. Help me sell a house. They're not going to contact you, right? Because that's drama. It's the same thing when you guys go to the store and you see all those stupid ass tabloids on the thing. Oh my God, Brad and so-and-so are going to break up. Oh my God, really? That's not the game that you're in. You're not a tabloid, right? You're here to inspire people to buy a home, demonstrate that you're a professional to sell their home. That's what you need to portray in what you do, right? So when you look at like Luke's Dallas home collection, you can't help but be in awe. The music, the editing. I'm like, fuck, dude. That's why I always share them. I'm like, damn, this shit's good, right? And it's no surprise that he's had the success that he continues to have with it. Right? But he's cracked that code and continues to utilize that over and over and over. So it's like, damn, he can't help but dominate that space, right? That was the same approach I took to just the traditional stuff. I'm going to get out there and knock and call, and people are recognizing me in the street because they see me all the time. I mean, it's great, right? But it's that consistency, guys. It's really the key, and that's the key, but it's also the toughest, because we know it's challenging to be consistent, but that's going to be up to you guys and the parameters that you set to help you with that, right?